If you've been having a difficult time climbing out of those lower ranks, then this video is for you, as we're going to be breaking down 3 champions for every single role that are low ELO machines, and they're going to give you the greatest chance of ranking up the fastest. And did you know that with a 55% win rate, it takes 160 games on average to go up just 1 rank? Now increase your win rate by just 5%, and that time is literally cut in half to only 80 games. This is the power of SkillCapped. Each course offers a win rate increase that's literally a click away. Learn what took Challengers players 10 whole years to figure out in just 10 minutes. We supercharge your rank gains with real results. Just click the link in the description below now to get the rank that you've always dreamed of. Okay, so one of the most ridiculous low ELO champions in general right now, starting it off for the top lane, is Dr. Mundo. For low ELO, these champions who scale well and are pretty easy to execute will help you climb a lot faster than more early game reliant picks. Now, Mundo is a complete menace once he has a few items, especially now that Warmogs is coming to the meta. You stack a mass amount of health with this build and become super tanky, but because of how Mundo's kit works, the damage output is actually pretty insane too. Mundo's E damage scales off of bonus health, so by running a core of Warmogs and Heartsteel, you're getting the maximum value out of that health scaling. Third item is very situational, as you can go more offensive with Overlord's Bloodmail or more defensive with Spirit Visage and Thornmail. The optimal rune page for Mundo consists of Grasp with Demolish, Second Wind, and Overgrowth, while Free Boots and Approach Velocity are for secondaries. Now, one of the easiest ways to climb out of low ELO is by learning how to split push effectively, and Yorick is the best champ to get you there the fastest. There's not a ton of mechanical skill that's required to play Yorick at a good level. Correct W usage is one thing that you can get better at over time, but it really doesn't make or break the champ as a whole. Just farming up to your core items and eventually applying pressure in the side lane should be what you're focused on the most. You always want to try and be splitting on the side of the map furthest from the next objective. This way, if the enemy team collapses on you and you're not able to escape, your team should have the numbers advantage to take a dragon or a tower elsewhere. It's really important that you don't die in the side lane well before that objective spawns though. If you're splitting and dragon is still yet to spawn for another minute, just don't over push if you don't know exactly where the enemy team is on the map. Wait until about 15 seconds before that dragon spawns and then begin to apply pressure. By doing this, the enemy top will have likely thought that you were going to be joining the team fight, so they won't be there in the side lane to stop you, and you're going to end up taking at least 1 tower for free. For a more in-depth look at how to macro as a top laner, our new course on strategic macro is a great resource to help you out. The standard core build for Yorick consists of a Profane Hydro Rush into Cyrilda's Grudge second and Opportunity third. Conqueror is the keystone rune with Triumph, Bloodline, and Last Stand, followed by Demolish and Bone Plating for secondaries. And for our third low ELO top lane recommendation, it's a champ who can do a little bit of everything, and that champ being Volibear. With the new meta build on Volley, he's actually got some really strong side lane threat, but due to the champ's kit, his team fight can be quite impactful as well. Volley is one of those champs where if you get ahead with him, it's very hard to actually throw a lead due to all of his point-and-click damage that he has. This makes him a great low ELO champ because no matter how bad you are mechanically, you're always going to provide value for your team, and that's a win for literally everybody, especially in the lower ranks where ADCs won't be spacing immaculately. Diving in with R and locking a high priority carry down with Q stun is so impactful, and it literally takes no skill at all. The core build that you're going to be running on Volibear consists of a Rod of Ages rush into Navori Flickerblade second and Frozen Heart or Spirit Visage third. The rune page that you need to take with this build is Press the Attack with Presence of Mind, Haste, and Last Stand, followed by Triple Tonic and Jack of all trades. After being a pretty mediocre champ through the first half of Season 14, Shyvana is back in a big way and an excellent low ELO jungler. A few patches back, Riot issued a change that increased the XP that you get from jungle camps, which has actually been really great for Shiv. Now, as a jungler who wants to hard farm and reach her level 6 spike literally as soon as possible, more experience to help her reach that faster is amazing. The fact that Shiv has such a big spike at level 6 gives you a very clear win condition to play for in every game. You never want to be forcing ganks with Shyvana early on, as ensuring you take your camps off respawn, hitting 6 before the enemy jungler, and then looking to be more aggressive is the game plan. In low elo, players are going to be a lot less cognizant over dragon spawns, which is great for Shyvana because she deals 20% bonus damage to dragons and becomes tankier with each dragon she takes due to her passive. The core build for Shyvana revolves around a Spear of Shojin Rush into Leandra's 2nd and Riftmaker 3rd. Fleet Footwork is the best keystone rune with Triumph, Haste, and Cut Down, while Cashback and Jack of all trades are for secondaries. If you want to play a jungler who can be a little bit more active in the early game, whether it be through skirmishing or ganking, Warwick is our recommendation for you. Low elo games are just so absolutely chaotic with fights happening all the time, and Warwick is a really great jungler to take advantage of this more clown fiesta type nature. With Warwick's W, he gains a mass amount of bonus movement speed towards enemies below 50% health, so it makes getting around the map and capitalizing on opportunities really nice. Besides Warwick's R, his main damage source comes from point and click in the enemy, so when you get ahead with the champ, you can just end up stat checking the enemy and rolling over him in fights. There's definitely some more nuanced part of Warwick's kit that take a little bit of time to master, as his Q and his E can be used in unique ways, but the skill floor of Warwick is pretty low, so even without knowledge of his more advanced mechanics, you can still find a lot of success with him. The core build for Warwick is a Titanic Hydra Rush into Blade of the Ruined King's 2nd, and then you go tanky from then on out. Press the Attack is the keystone rune with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand, followed by Celerity and Water Walking for secondaries. Another really strong low elo jungler who you can win with by executing on a very simple game plan is Nocturne. Noc R has a ton of value in the lower ranks because players just won't respect the threat of it very often. Now this makes being super consistent with your clear and hitting level 6 as soon as you can very important. And speaking of clearing your jungle, we've now got a course on our website with not only Nocturne's optimal clear, but a plethora of other junglers as well. Now, unlike Shyvana, Noc does actually have a little more early game skirmish power, so after you're done clearing your jungle, fighting for crab or looking for a gank is definitely going to be more of an option. Once you get to 6 with Nocturne, it's very important you don't end up wasting your R and get nothing out of it. Before you even load into the game, you should have a general plan in place as to which lane is going to be the best for you to gank. Ganking for lanes that have crowd control is going to be the most reliable way for you to secure kills, so having a look in loading screen at which of your teammates has the most CC is definitely important. The build that you should be running on Nocturne is a Stridebreaker Rush into Hexplate 2nd and Black Cleaver 3rd. Conqueror is the keystone rune with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand, followed by Eyeball Collection and Ultimate Hunter. Moving on to the mid lane. First up is going to be one of the best teamfight mids that you can play, being Brand. With all of the percent health damage that Brand is able to acquire, he works so well in the lower ranks where games last a little bit longer. Now, the longer the games last, the more health the enemies will have, which gives Brand a lot of value here. All the AoE damage allows Brand to thrive in 5v5s and makes him an absolute monster when fighting for objectives. The objective-taking power of Brand is incredible as well, since his percent health damage helps to absolutely melt Baron or Dragon. The core build performing the best for Brand in solo queue consists of a Rylai's Rush into Leandra's 2nd and Blackfire Torch 3rd. For the rune page, it's Comet with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch. Best secondaries are Presence of Mind and Cut Down. One mid lane champ that you can really never go wrong with if you're looking to climb out of low elo is Malzahar. What makes Mal so great for the lower ranks is that he always has value regardless of how ahead or behind you are on the pick. The silence from Mal's Q combined with the suppression from his R gives you the ability to influence fights extremely well whether you're fed or whether you're not. Even if the enemy mid is up a few kills on you, just using R on them while they try to dive into a fight can completely nullify any damage they have. Malzahar does need his items and levels to really come online, as his early game is pretty weak, but there is a strategy you should use to help get past that early game quicker. So instead of starting with a Doran's Ring, look to start Mana Crystal with Refillable Potion. This way you're able to reach your Lost Chapter Spike faster, which is when you can actually start shoving out waves and being more useful. At level 6, always try to play with your jungler and look to fight when they're around. As long as you provide the lockdown with your R, winning out in 2v2 skirmishes is pretty easy with Malz once he gets 6. The core build for Malzahar consists of a Blackfire Torch Rush into Rylai's 2nd and Leandra's 3rd. Rune Page revolves around Airy with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch, while Free Boots and Cosmic Insight are for secondaries. If mages are not of interest to you and you'd rather an assassin mid lane pick, Naafiri is exceptionally strong for low elo right now. Naafiri was just heavily buffed a few patches back and has been absolutely dominating the lower ranks ever since. Now, even though Naafiri is an assassin, the one thing that sets her apart from many other assassins is that she's less mechanically demanding. This is a big factor that makes Naafiri a great low elo pick because there's just less ways for you to blow a lead and mess up with her. You've got the point and click engage, which makes finding catch plays and bursting out a target really easy if you get ahead. Now, how you're going to look to execute with Naafiri in the mid game is by shoving out side waves and then looking for flank angles. Playing straight up team fights can be a little bit more difficult with Naafiri since her engage is more telegraphed, so trying to get in behind opponents is key to taking them out. The core for Naafiri revolves around an Eclipse Rush into Profane Hydra second, and it's pretty situational from then on out. First Strike is the optimal keystone with Free Boots, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight, while Sudden Impact and Treasure Hunter are for secondaries. One of the main consistent ADCs for low elo, who's just become even better due to recent buffs, is Misfortune. MF is such a phenomenal low elo ADC because you have much less to worry about micro-wise in order to be impactful with the champ compared to many other ADCs. With Misfortune, all you really got to do is focus on sitting behind your front line and be ready for when a team fight breaks out. When the enemy is CC'd, you look to rain down with R, and that's really all you need to do a lot of the time in fights to make an impact. No space gliding or kiting needed, just straight up using your R at the correct time and you're golden. The meta build for Misfortune is really strong right now too, as it gives you a little bit more margin for error. Bloodthirster is the rush item, and you're also taking Barrier for your secondary summoner spell, so the amount of bonus shielding you have is absolutely crazy. It's a very heavy burst focus setup that's going to allow for MF's Q and R to hurt really bad as you're following up the Bloodthirster rush with Essence Reaver and Infinity Edge. The standard rune page is Press the Attack with Presence of Mind, Alacrity, and Cut Down, followed by Absolute Focus and Gathered Storm for secondaries. Another ADC who's pretty strong in general right now, but even better for the lower ranks, is Ashe. If you can get really good at Ashe, climbing out of low elo shouldn't take you very long at all. Now, this is because Ashe has one of the stronger early games for any ADC, and her ability to extend a lead and close out games is also top tier as well. The long auto attack range combined with her W poke allows for you to bully shorter ranged ADCs pretty nicely. Once you get a lead in lane, closing out games is way easier with Ashe than most ADCs because she has the ability to start fights with her R. Very few other ADCs have this same kind of catch power that Ashe provides, so you're able to take matters in your own hands and not rely as much on your support to be that source of engage. It's a crit-centric build that's performing best on Ashe right now as you're rushing Kraken Slayer into Phantom Dancer second and Infinity Edge third. The rune page consists of Press the Attack with Absorb Life, Alacrity, and Cut Down, while Biscuits and Approach Velocity are for secondaries. This rune page in specific has an incredibly high win rate, but it's very underrated right now as most Ashe players are taking Presence of Mind with Bloodline instead of Absorb Life with Alacrity. You can get away with very elementary mechanical skill and still win with MF or Ashe, but if you do want to delve into a pick with a little bit more skill required who's still great for low elo, then Jinx is absolutely the play for you. Spacing well is going to be a little bit more important on Jinx due to the fact that so much of her value is going to come from the DPS potential she has with her auto attacks. Now, with that said, her passive does help with this, as finding a proc in a team fight is going to give you the burst of movement speed, which helps you reposition or chase down kills. Honestly though, it's really Jinx's passive that gives her so much potential in low elo though, because all you need is that one proc to completely take over a team fight. There are few ADCs who have as much raw teamfight impact as Jinx, because she's got the execute from her R while possessing some of the absolute most disgusting DPS power due to the stacking attack speed from passive. The build you're going to want to prioritize on Jinx consists of a Kraken Slayer rush into Phantom Dancer second and Infinity Edge third. Fleet Footwork and Press the Attack are both viable keystone runes that you can swap between based on what your lane is looking like. So for example here, when paired with a melee engage support, opting for Press the Attack can work well to provide more damage for all ends, and if you're with someone like Yuumi though, who doesn't offer as much early kill threat, going for Fleet is definitely good value. Since games in the lower elos tend to last a little bit longer on average, it gives a strong scaling enchanter like Sona a lot of added strength. Sona always has one of the highest win rates in silver and gold, and it's honestly for really good reason. Get Sona to 2 items, and the constant healing and speed boost that she provides for her team gives her so much consistent value. It takes absolutely no skill at all to use Sona's W and E, so you could be playing with your toes and still making an impact. Now, utility aside, Sona actually has pretty strong catch power as well with her R, so she's not just a heal bot. You can make plays with Sona and be the engage for your team, which is something that separates her from a lot of other enchanters. The damage output from the champ really isn't to be understated either, as you should be taking Bloodsong as your item upgrade instead of Dreammaker. Bloodsong has a much higher win rate and is just the more selfish option that's going to help you carry more and rely less on your teammates. Rush item is Echoes of Helia, and then Staff of Flowing Water slots in second. The best rune page consists of Airy with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Gathering Storm, while Conditioning and Revitalize slot in for secondaries. If you don't fancy playing an enchanter, one of the best melee supports for low elo is Leona. Leona is such a great low elo support for a multitude of reasons. For a support champion, the damage that Leona can output is actually very respectable, and you're often going to be able to outduel the enemy ADC early on in lane. CC is incredible as well, as you have the ability to single out and lock down a target for multiple seconds. And now to tie everything together here, Leona is also super tanky due to the damage reduction and bonus resist she gets when using W, so she can be a great frontline for her team to soak a lot of the damage. The build that's finding a ton of success in the higher ranks right now that more low elo Leona players should be using revolves around Bloodsong, Warmogs, and Locket. The Bloodsong item upgrade is super good for Leona, as she's a champ who wants to be aggressive, looking for all-in plays, and Bloodsong just really helps to amplify that. The rune page finding the most success right now consists of Aftershock with Font of Life, Bone Plating, and Overgrowth, while Sudden Impact and Relentless Hunter are for secondaries. And for more of a pure carry from the support role, you really can't go wrong with Zyra. Zyra is one of the few supports in the game who can make an impact without relying on her ADC to be competent. Now, this is because the damage that Zyra can output at level 6 is incredibly high, which means you can find kills by yourself without your ADC needing to do anything at all. All you need to do is land one E and follow up with the rest of your abilities to just completely wipe out an enemy squishy. Now, every game is winnable with Zyra as long as you're playing well, which makes her a great low elo champ. Not only is Zyra's all-in strength really great at level 6, but that also spills over into her teamfight ability as well. The AoE damage potential that Zyra has gives her such great value when fighting around key objectives, and her zone power is absolutely amazing too. Now, for the build with Zyra, your 2 core items for every game are going to be Leandris and Rylai's. The power spike is huge when you complete both items, as they're really all that Zyra needs to reach maximum effectiveness. Now, as for the rune page, it's going to be Comet with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch, followed by Taste of Blood and Relentless Hunter for secondaries. Okay guys, one last thing. Our rank up guarantee is absolutely insane. It's kind of like signing up for the gym and then just getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in SkillCapped. We obsess over making the best guides with the top players, the rigorous testing, and top tier video editing to make your climb as easy as possible. If you're ready to level up, just visit skillcapped.com and literally see the difference. So there you have it, everyone. A complete look at 3 of the best low elo champions for every single role. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.